Hey guys, this is Non-Lammers of Invoked 101. Welcome back. Once again, I'm filming on my phone for this one, so if it sounds kind of weird, that's why. I'm also filming kind of early in the morning, and today we're taking a look at my second place locals Invoked Shaddoll deck profile. If you want to see what my matchups were, if you want to see all that, there is a locals vlog that is going up before this, so if you want to check that out, that is where to do it. If you want to see my matchups, you want to get more information about how this deck functioned in those matchups and what they were. But yeah, I got second place with this, 3-1, and I was very happy with how this played. I only really bricked once. The other times I was typically able to play through a brick. And yeah, and I do have a side deck for this, so I will show that off. And before we get into it, if you feel like supporting the channel, we do have merch down in the description below. You can check that out. We got our new stickers, as well as shirts and other things. So with that all said, let's get right into it. I'm gonna set the spells, traps, and extra deck off to the side. Right into the main deck monsters. Of course, playing triple Alistair the Invoker on normal or flip face up, he gets to search Invocation. That is not a once per turn. And then he also has another non-once per turn, which is that you can discard him from the hand to bolster a fusion monster by 1,000 points attack and defense. Very awesome card, very necessary in this deck because Invocation is a generic fusion spell from the hand. So being able to just normal him and get your fusion started is very nice. He's also, you know, like the best card ever. Not as good as Crystal Wing, but you know. For our Shaddolls, moving into those, we have two Wendy. Wendy is really cool on flip. I think she does the same thing on flip and send, which is that she special summons a Shaddoll monster from deck in face up or face down defense, which is really cool. She's really good for also getting combos started, especially with Rest Shaddoll Incarnation, so definitely a necessary card you want to play. Then we play two Squamata. Squamata is on flip, target a monster on the field and destroy it, and then on send he sends a Shaddoll card to grave, which is really useful again for getting combo started. Like if you open Wendy Squamata, it's awesome because then you are able to just basically make whatever you want. I believe you go into Winda and then this dumps things, this summons back the aerial and you get combo. It's really cool. But yeah, Squamata is really good. Then we play two Hedgehog. Hedgehog has the effect on flip to search a Shaddoll spell or trap, and then on send he searches a Shaddoll monster, which is really useful, being able to. So there was multiple times in my games where I dump Squamata, dump Hedgehog, and use Hedgehog to search, because that loads your graveyard with 2 for Schism. Moving into the one of Shaddolls, I played one Aerial, who on flip targets a banished Shaddoll monster and special summons it in face up or face down defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target up to 3 cards in your graveyard, banish them. So yeah, in either graveyard she banishes. We played one Shaddoll Beast, who on flip draws 2 cards, then discards 1, but on send he draws 1 card. And then we played, and this was an MVP in one of my, I didn't know what this did in one of my matches, and it ended up being the accidental perfect thing to grab. One Shaddoll Dragon, who on flip targets a card your opponent controls and returns it to the hand. And then on send pops a spell or trap on the field. And that can be your own, that could be your opponent's, but yeah. Shaddoll Dragon was a really cool monster I had in one of my games, and yeah. Watch the locals log. That's it for the main monsters for hand traps. We are playing a pretty decent hand trap suite. We are playing 3 Ash, of course. I still think Ash is pretty good this format. 3 Lancia. This was definitely the correct call. There was a lot of banishing going on. There was a Shaddoll mirror match. There was Dragon Link, and there was, of course, Gara, who played his stun deck, his Grenmaju stun, so this was definitely the correct call for that. One card I'm not totally sure about was Nibiru. This card did get sided out a bit. I used this, I think I left this in during the Shaddoll mirror match. I sided out against Gara, and I think I left this in during Dragon Link. So, but I did not resolve this at all at locals. So I did resolve Lancias though, definitely did that, and Ashes. So that's it for the main monsters. Moving into the spells and traps, we have, of course, starting us off, 3 Shaddoll Fusion. If your opponent controls a monster summoned from the extra deck, you can use monsters in your deck as fusion material, but other than that, it's just a normal fusion spell to summon a Shaddoll monster. Really good card, and yeah, I would not play less than 3 of that one. 2 El Shaddoll. It's a quick play fusion spell for a Shaddoll monster using hand and field. So really cool. Both of these are hard ones per turns, but the one that isn't a hard ones per turn, except for its other effect, is Invocation. If you don't know what Invocation does, it says fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters on your hand from your hand as fusion materials. If summoning an invoked fusion monster this way, you can also banish monsters from your field and either player's graveyard. Then it says you can target, if this card's in your graveyard, you can target a banished Alistair the Invoker, shuffle this card in the deck, and if you do, add the targeted Alistair to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So you can fusion summon with this as much as you want, but you can only add it back once per turn. In rounding out the fusion spells, triple Super Poly. This card is nuts since every one of your monsters, like Alistair and the Shaddolls, are all Super Poly targets, because a lot of stuff just needs Alistair plus an attribute or Shaddoll plus an attribute. So yeah, so Super Poly is really cool in this. And then we also play Starving Venom in the extra, so Super Poly is pretty dope. We play 3 Magical Meltdown. So Magical Meltdown says, on activation, search Alistair the Invoker. And then it also says your opponent cannot, the activations of cards and effects that fusion summon a monster cannot be negated. And then when a fusion monster is fusion summoned, your opponent cannot activate effects in response. So that's really cool, because it basically means all your Shaddoll stuff is free. You fusion summon a Shaddoll and it's all free. You get to resolve your Construct, your Wendy, and your Squamata, or whatever it is that you sent. It's a great card. It's pretty intense, especially with Schism and Outgoaties. And of course, our one-ofs, 1 Terraforming to play with that, 1 Foolish Burial because it triggers all the Shaddoll monsters, 1 Called By to stop the Ash that hits the Alistair, and 1 Instant Fusion for the window to get stuff going. You'd be surprised how just sometimes you need that window or Ragin to just instant fusion into. And just because I have space on here, I'm going to do the 2 traps. That is 1 Rush Shaddoll Incarnation. It says target a Shaddoll monster in your graveyard, special summon it and face up or face down. But then it has another effect in the grave, which says you can banish this card and a Shaddoll card that came in handy, that it was a card, from grave, then activate one of these effects. Either change a face down defense monster to face up defense, or change a face up monster you control to face down defense. This is really good, especially with Aerial, because then it will trigger Aerial. It'll also trigger any of the other Shadolls, but yeah, mainly for Aerial. And 1 Shaddoll Schism. If you don't know what Schism does, it basically is a Shaddoll invocation. But it's a continuous trap, and it says during the main phase, you can fusion summon a Shaddoll fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from field or grave, but it can't attack directly, and then you can send to the graveyard 1 monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as that fusion summoned monster. So yeah, and you can only do this once per turn, but you can do it during either player's turn because it's a trap. So Shaddoll Schism, pretty good, pretty good. And that is it for the main deck. I've grown to enjoy these ratios a bit. I definitely like it a bit more than I initially did. And yeah, I definitely think there's a little bit of room for improvement, specifically where the hand traps are, but currently I like this. I especially like this a lot more than the previous build I did. Moving to the extra deck, 2 Mechaba definitely was the correct thing. I mean, I didn't always make the second Mechaba, but I did enjoy having the option of the second Mechaba because it did come up a couple times. 1 Outgoaties, I summoned him probably twice the whole locals, but that's worth it enough for me because he did come in handy, especially against the mirror match. He was very good in the mirror. 1 Purgatrio, this came up 1 time, twice, I forget. I think it came up twice, but yeah, mainly because of Ashes. 1 Ragin, instant fusion. Also, it does get Wendy's out of the graveyard. So yeah, I played this in my Eldritch version too, so I definitely like that. And then 1 Kaliga. I noticed a lot of people weren't playing Kaliga as the super poly target, and I kind of couldn't stand that. I was like, dude, you need to play Kaliga if you're playing this. So I added the Kaliga. So yeah, it is a lot of invoked monsters. If you want, you could probably cut the other Mechaba, but there's nothing that I felt I needed to add to this that warranted cutting the 2 Mechabas. And then I played 1 Starving Venom purely as the super poly target, and that's it for kind of those. For the Shaddoll stuff, I played 2 Construct. Construct is really cool because what she does is she sends on summon. She sends a Shaddoll card from deck to grave on summon, and then when she's sent to graveyard, like all the Shaddoll almost all the Shaddoll fusions do this. When it's sent to graveyard, you can pick up a Shaddoll Spell or Trap from grave. The only exception to the rule is the Apocalones. Apocolone is insane. Being able to on fusion summon it negates a face-up card. You target a card and negate it, and then if it's sent to graveyard, you add a Shaddoll card from deck to hand, or graveyard, from deck or graveyard to hand, and then you discard a card. So she's really cool because it also triggers all the Shaddoll stuff, because you can search and send the same card, which is pretty cool. Then I played 2 windows. Definitely felt that window was correct at 2. I think these are the correct Shaddolls. If I had to switch one of them, it would probably be Construct. I would probably cut Construct to 1, because I definitely summoned both Apocalones a lot. I summoned both windows a lot, but Construct was the one who I didn't summon nearly as much. So definitely would cut that to 1. Window's really cool because it can't be destroyed by card effects, by your opponent's card effects, and then it also prevents both players from performing more than one special summon when she's face up on the field per turn. So really cool. And then for links, 1 Gravity Controller. This is mainly for Winda and Construct, but you can also use Apocalone, because if any of these guys are in the extra monster zone, when you fusion summon them, you can link them in the Gravity Controller and then trigger their send to grave effects, which is really nice. And I also played 1 Artemis the Magistus Moon Maiden, because this used to be true with the Shaddolls, but most of the Shaddolls are spellcasters, as well as Alistair's a spellcaster, meaning you can turn any of them into an Artemis and have a light target. And that's it for the extra. If I had to make a recommendation, I would say either cut one of these 2 if you really feel like it, and then switch it for something else. You could also cut Purg, because I did think about playing the Almirage, but I just felt like that wouldn't be worth it. I felt almost every time I would go into the Artemis over the Almirage. That's it for the extra and main. I do have a side deck for this, so I will show that off. 1 Red Reboot. I cited this in a lot, but never saw it. 3 Evenly Matched. I cited this in once, and I saw it, but I couldn't use it. Actually, I cited this in twice and saw it, but couldn't use it. 1 Duster for the back row hate, and 3 Cosmic for the back row hate. Never saw Duster, but definitely saw some Cosmics, and that's just because they're one-ofs. 1 Gamma Seal. Never cited this in, so never saw it. 3 Dark Ruler No More. Never cited that in with this version. And 3 Droll. Never cited that in because there was no reason to. So yeah, that is it for the side deck. I know I kind of just blazed through this part of the deck, but it's side deck stuff. I don't want to focus on it because it's basically play what fits your locals. But yeah, that is it for my Invoked Shaddoll deck profile. I actually enjoyed playing this for once. I know that I was kind of notable for saying that this deck was bad when I first built it, and especially in my Discord. But yeah, I definitely had fun playing it this time, and it performed a lot better than the previous version when this deck was first kind of floating around back when the structure deck came out. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this in the comments below. While you're down there, feel free to check out the description, where once again you can check out our Teespring, where we have the link to our stickers and shirts. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.